Welcome to Beyond the Score podcast. I am your co-host, Harry, and on the other line, we have our great co-host, Josh. Josh, you want to introduce yourself to the world?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to your favorite podcast.
Thank you, thank you. That was a lovely introduction, as always. This is our first official episode. We're going to get into some great topics here. Why don't we just get right into it? We have the American League East. That's what we really want to talk about here today. What's happening with between the Yankees and the Orioles? Really, really competitive division. Baseball is getting a lot of hype right now. I think there's a lot more viewers in there, and people are just excited to watch the Yankees, the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
But on the sideline, Baltimore, who's in their division, they're not going away anytime soon. They had a huge matchup earlier this season. They played 4 games in Camden Yards. The Yankees lost 3 out of those 4 games. But currently they have a lead in the division. Josh, what do you think between these two juggernaut teams? What should we expect going down the line?
Yeah, I mean, I think we should expect out of the 13 games, I would be surprised if one team won more than 8, because I think it's just two high quality offenses, high quality teams, well managed. They play the game the right way. I mean, except for hitting our captain in the hand, but we could talk about that another time. Obviously, I don't see
Luckily,
intention,
I don't
but
mean to cut you off, but luckily he's in good spirits, and it seems like it should only be day to day. He's gonna, not play for a couple of games, but he should be back in there.
I'm a little sour, but I'm not mad at the guy. It's the game, but might as well talk about him because Aaron Judge, he can only be slowed down by a 95-mile-an-hour fastball to the hand. He's leading the league in WAR, home runs, RBIs, doubles. The list goes on. Slugging, OBP, no, not OBP, OPS plus, and it's almost identical to the year he won the MVP. So I think it's very likely that we see something like that again from him. What do you think?
Well, I think this lineup is a lot scarier overall. Obviously, Soto batting in front of him. Teams really don't know what to do. And it gets really right into what I wanted to discuss between these two teams and their two juggernauts.
Absolutely.
Really, it's Soto and Judge for the Yankees, and you have Gunnar and Adley for Baltimore. I mean, they're a young and impressive duo to watch, really. But, going to the Yankees here, I mean, Aaron Judge, what he's doing this season, those numbers, they are astronomical, right? And I think it goes to show that because Soto is batting in front of him, batting second in the lineup, it's just making him so much more lethal, right? In 2022, when he won the MVP and hit 62 home runs, he was getting a lot of walks, especially in the second half of the season. People, teams, pitchers didn't know what to do. Now they can't really do that because if they just start walking these players, well, guess what happens? The next guy comes up, it's going to be a wrap, right? These guys are stepping up left and right. And I mean, considering what we're seeing between these duos in the American League East, I mean, we're going to have a fun division for a really, really long time, pending Soto signing an extension with the Yankees, which I think you and I both agree that will be happening no matter what. But I'll let you comment on that, and I'll let you put your input on what you think is going to be happening and who you really think is the better duo overall.
So I'm going to start off by giving Gunnar and Adley their flowers. I think it's really important to understand what it is that this young duo is doing in Baltimore, as well as it makes them into a World Series candidate because they don't have to pay them like Judge is getting paid, like Giancarlo's getting paid. But Gunner's a unanimous Rookie of the Year. The only player above him in WAR and home runs is Judge, and Adley's the best catcher in the game. I mean, and we look at him and he hits 350 against the Yankees in the 27 games he's played, plus 16 walks in just 27 games. So like this guy's always on base, always a problem for us. But you're not gonna have me sit here and say that they're better than them, because when you look at Aaron Judge, you look at Juan Soto. Juan Soto leads in on base and walks, and I think that it's really important to understand what these two guys are doing is historic, and I'm totally here for it. I think that it's something that the Yankees fans have been itching for so long. I really hope it's not just a tease with Soto. I hope it's something that we can see for a long time. Watch them play Judge's contract together, and I think that also have us have the best Judge over that time. Which, by the way, he has a career 993 OPS, and he's finally getting the love he deserves. But we'll talk about that another time. Harry, what do you think? You on board with me?
I mean, basically everything you said is essentially what I would say. I think a couple of things that I would like to emphasize is um, Judge and Soto are getting paid a lot of money, right? Judge has that huge contract. Soto's going to get one bigger. What the huge advantage that the Orioles have with their two young guys is the fact that they have team control for such a long time, where they're not going to have to pay these guys big money and still be able to build around them, right? They're going to have some free agents. Corbin Burns is a free agent. They're going to definitely have to emphasize on pitching. It seems like Kyle Bradish is out for the season as well, so their rotation definitely took a hit. And I think that's something they're going to have to focus on this season, try to improve is their rotation, maybe add another starter down the line. But really Adley and Gunnar, they're great. And I think you said something about unanimous rookie of the year. That's something that I don't know if I could agree. I'm not saying that they won't be rookie of the year, but I think considering Luis Hill and how he's been pitching for the Yankees this season, you definitely have to give him some credit and some rookie of the year votes. I mean, especially if he continues to pitch the way he's done so far, we can expect that he'll definitely take away some votes. But going forward, this lineup for both teams are stacked up and down, right? It's going to be an incredible division to watch down the line. What's going to happen between these two teams? Who's going to win this season? But I think the Orioles, they definitely have to focus on adding a starter at the deadline, whether it's a vet or someone that's going to be able to pick up those innings that they're losing right now. But that's really their only thing that I think they need. Their bullpen is incredible. Their lineup 1 through 9 is great. I mean, their worst hitter is Cedric Mullins, and at one point in his career, he was their best hitter. Obviously, now he's got a 583 OPS, and he's struggling. He's a great player overall. I think, if he can get the right at-bats in, maybe he's not 100% healthy, things will straighten out for him. He's obviously protected with that lineup. And then going to the Yankees side, I think that, they do have a couple other holes that they might need. I think they're stronger in their offense. Their rotation looks better on paper, but they could add that bullpen that they need, right? I think Clay Holmes might be lacking. I don't know if he's their closer down the line. He should really be their setup man. Maybe look for that closer that's going to be able to, solid 9 innings, right? Take that 9th inning away and end it, just like we've had in our history as a ball club. So I think that, as well as first base, are really what the Yankees need to focus on. I think Baltimore needs to focus on their starting pitching, and I think if both those teams add what they need, and injuries don't plague them, they're going to be set for a really, really, really great October.
Yeah, let me make sure I was clear that I do think Luis Hill is the rookie of the year, but Gunnar Henderson was the unanimous rookie of the year last year. I want to make sure that that's clear. But this year, I think Luis Hill is the rookie of the year. I mean, he's leading the MLB in ERA, hits allowed per 9, a win percentage, and the batting average against him goes with that hits allowed per 9 at 142. I mean, it's insane. He's the AL All-Star starter. Who else would you put? No one, right?
I agree. I would have to agree. I mean, Hill has been just super dominant. His stuff has been incredible. And I remember when we first saw him, that brief 6 appearances he had back in 2021, where he looked great. Now, he was very young at that point, and then he had those injuries, missed all 22, missed all 23. 24 comes around, he doesn't have a spot in this rotation. Garrett Cole goes down, and now that rotation spot opens up. Luis Hill takes the most of it, and he's pitching lights out. I mean, he's the best pitcher in the American League East right now. I don't think there's another option that you could say is better. Maybe Corbin Burns, but I mean, Hill has been just incredible. Rookie of the year, potentially Cy Young this season for the American League.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, you caught me catching the highlights because I actually went to that game with my daughter and we were in the seats for 2 innings, so it was nice to be able to see what actually happened. But what's it called? He's definitely the best pitcher in the AL right now. I think that goes without saying. And what you were saying about the bullpen, man, give me Mason Miller. 2.2 ERA, zero point 0.8 whip, 0.8, and 15.9 strikeouts per 9. I mean, I'm giving Spencer Jones for him. I don't care. I want that 103-mile-an-hour fastball in New York as the closer. Clay Holmes, I love as a guy that could come in the middle of the game, shut down any part of the lineup at any point. But just at the end of the game, it seems like there's something. I mean, you can't act like it's not a hard job. It's a very hard job. But give me Mason Miller. I would give Spencer Jones. I'd try and get them to take like Peraza and Pereira. But
listen, I would love to have Mason Miller too on this team. I think it'll be a really tough buy right now. He's got a lot of time left in Oakland. It really depends. I don't know if I'd give Spencer Jones, but We'll see. We're going to see. I think we have to wrap up here and head to the next segment over, but we'll see what's going to happen in the American League East, and if there's going to be any trades, obviously we'll bring them right to you. But why don't we hop into the next segment? We have another really interesting one over here. Obviously, it's the NBA Finals. What's happened between the Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks? Well, I think a lot of people are disappointed. It went 5 games. We were hoping for a little bit better of a series, but the Celtics were just the best team from start to finish. I think when we go back to the preseason of this year, people had them odds-on favorite to win the whole thing. Jaylen Brown is your finals MVP. I think for a reason. I think he was the overall best player in those finals. He was the one that they were able to rely on the most. And he is just an incredible athlete, really. And the Celtics, they did easy work of the Mavericks. Yes, they lost 1 game, but they had the best team up and down. From start to finish, they were built to win this season, and they did it. They were expected to win. I don't think we should be shocked. Dallas, kudos to you guys. You had a really great run. I mean, I don't know if I had you guys in there, but you guys really wowed a lot of people, and I think you should be really impressed and hope to build on next season. But the flaws showed, right? The Celtics were the best team on the offensive end, the defensive end. The numbers showed they were just dominant in every fashion. Dallas couldn't keep up with them. The teams in the East couldn't keep up with them. Miami, Cleveland, Indiana all struggled against Boston. Even with their injuries, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about that. It doesn't matter that the injuries. I mean, regardless of the fact is if Jimmy Butler played, if Donovan Mitchell played, if Tyrese was healthy, doesn't matter. The Celtics were winning. They were the best team. We knew it from the start. Nothing shocked us. They made easy work of every team. And then they got the good team in the finals. They got the healthy team with Kyrie, with Luka Doncic. And guess what? They lost in 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, you could say all you want about the Heat not having Jimmy Butler. The Cavs didn't have Mitchell for a couple games, and the Pacers were, well, the Pacers, no one really expected them to be there. But what everyone was saying did not deter them. They played elite offense and they played even better defense. Having Derek White and Drew Holiday, I think was a really important dynamic to get Kyrie just completely out of the game in just about every moment of every game. I feel like Porzingis brought the energy in game 1, even though he didn't make it through the series fully healthy. I think that he brought the energy to show them like we're here, it's our time. And they needed that because if you look at them, if you look during the regular season, games that they maybe should have won, it was all emotional. There's no team that was better than them on paper. And they were so built, so stacked. And I think that it was just really important for the league that the best team won because I feel like it doesn't happen sometimes. As for the Mavericks, my Thunder fan in me has to shout out that all ball in the corner to end game 6. But that could be debated, but whatever it is, I feel like they definitely got the better of us. PJ Washington was a man on a mission, and it was kind of crazy to me to see him go from a very important offensive option to just it having to be Luka trying to. Luka didn't play well, but I'm saying he was trying to do everything he could to get past this brick wall of the Celtics offense and defense rather. But I think that JB deserved the MVP. He was the best player on the team. And I want to hear your opinion on Tatum before I tell you some opinions that I have about that.
Well, where to start, right? With Tatum, I think he's a superstar, but I think at the same time, Jaylen Brown has shown that he is the best player in Boston. It's a hot take. I think a lot of people would disagree with this, but here it is, right? Jaylen Brown is your NBA Finals MVP for a reason, right? That team is stacked with stars. Drew Holiday, KP, like you said, KP wasn't necessarily needed as much, but his presence was so important for them, and I agree, right? Going quickly for PJ Washington, kudos for him. He's definitely going to be getting a nice bag from Dallas for the long term, I think. But going back to Boston, man, this team was so great. I'm a Cavs fan, right? I had to watch them obliterate my Cavs in 5 games, and it was tough to watch. But they were built for this, and some incredible numbers for them, right? For the Celtics this season, 10.7 points per game differential. 10.7. Another incredible stat. Most team in NBA history with 50, 40, 30, and 25-point wins. Another incredible stat that we'll never see ever happen again. Celtics had a 20-point lead in 50 out of 101 games played, including the postseason this season. That says enough right there. They were the best team. And as long as they could stick together, they could be one of those that starts that dynasty again. We haven't had a back-to-back champion in 6 years. They could be the ones to bring that back. If they can bring this roster back, I don't see any reason why the Celtics can't run through the East unless these Eastern teams start making some upgrades. It'll be a long stretch, but incredible opportunity for the Celtics to continue to bounce and take this and run with it for a long term.
Mhm. I mean, I think you look at Boston sports, like we don't, as Yankee fans, we don't like the Red Sox, but you see what goes on in Boston with the Patriots, with the Bruins at times, and you look at this team. I think that this team has a potential to do just as good as the Patriots in terms of just absolutely dominating the league for a long time. But I think it's really important to acknowledge that I think that they need to keep Derek White. I think they need, because you can't have Jason Tatum being your rebound guy. I mean, if you don't have to pay $33 million a year for the guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great player, but like since Jalen Brown's emerged, like Jason Tatum's role, it kind of seems like a lot of times he doesn't really know what to do with himself. So he's just trying to do what's best for the team, which is great. But I feel like you can get more if you have Derek White and another guy, or you even get a guy in an expiring contract that's a great player. But I think Jason Tatum, I don't know if it would be a popular move with the fans, but he's got one left. I don't know if they're going to give him more money than Brown, because I think just Brown's just going to keep going up and up and up. And I think that it's going to be a really tough decision for Brad Stevens.
I'll get in right here. I think that they're going to find every way possible to extend Jason Tatum. I think a lot of the pressure is lifted off his shoulders with Jaylen Brown playing by his side. Because if you look at it throughout the rest of the league, you're 1A and 1B. I don't think there's a closer duo than Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right? Whether you want to put Tatum 1, Brown 2, Brown 1, Tatum 2, doesn't really matter. I think, of course, the other pieces matter. Derek White was huge for them. Al Horford, that veteran presence who's finally won his championship. But I think that there is really no question that the Celtics will do everything they possibly can to bring back Jason Tatum. Because realistically, who are they going to replace him with that's going to be able to compete and send this team down the line? I mean, you can't really rely on KP's health, potentially giving him a long-term deal. Obviously, you have him under contract, but you have to still see what happens. This playoffs, he was injured. He wasn't healthy, and during the regular season, he dealt with injuries too. So you really need to keep the core while also trying to figure out who are the ones that you should be keeping while also looking to move on from some other pieces. Drew Holiday is important. I think you really can't break up this team, at least for 2024, 2025. You have to run it back and then evaluate what's going to happen after in that offseason. If you win again, you have to run it back. That's my mentality. If you win a championship with that roster, you run it back. And I think what's going to be advantageous for the Celtics, they're a big market team. They're the Boston Celtics, right? I think they're going to be able to get a lot of veteran players on low veteran minimum salaries because they want to win championships. Some of these guys are going to want to come there and say, hey, listen, I'm this much closer to winning a ring. Let's go play for the Boston Celtics. It's going to happen, and they're going to add a couple more pieces. They're going to be a better team than they were this season, than they were last season. And honestly, I'm kind of worried to see how good they're going to be next season because my Cavs, we have some question marks. But the Celtics, man, and going into now the legacy, what we have to really discuss also is the legacy between them and the Lakers. Now they've passed the Lakers for more championships. I think they've had more dynasties in Boston. So they're the number one team in basketball. They are the top tier.
You don't think Derek White deserves a raise, though?
Oh, he definitely deserves a raise. 100%. He should be getting back. Definitely.
How do you do that?
Well, it's going to have to be managing some of these salaries. I'm not really sure in terms of how they're going to be able to do it in terms of bringing back their own guys that they would have in terms of free agency. Obviously, you can go up the soft cap. You won't be able to go up the hard cap, but teams will be able to bring back some of their guys that they already have on contract. It's going to be a lot of flexibility. Derek White's going to be looking for the bag. It depends if he thinks he's going to get a Jalen Brunson bag. Or he thinks he's going to get something less. It's all going to really depend. But he's still under contract. Well, he's a free agent coming up this offseason. The Celtics, I believe, will try to bring him back, whatever they can. But We'll see. I think we're gonna have a fun off season. Let's get into the next segment. We don't have much more time. I think we
Yeah,
got really
absolutely.
into what we needed to for the Celtics and the Mavericks,
Do what you got to
but
do.
we had a really really sad event that happened in the sports world, in the baseball world.
Yeah.
The Say Hey kid, Willie Mays, 93 years old, rest in peace. He is no longer with us.
Yeah.
Um, Greatest center fielder in baseball history. I mean, defensively at least. I think offensively you could definitely say so. I mean, depends on who you consider a center fielder in the history of baseball, but
Yeah.
Willie Mays for me is up there. I mean, this guy served in the military. He stopped playing baseball, did his service in the military, and came back and still broke records
Yeah.
and did amazing
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I mean, I think you really have to think about, like, I have a tough time comparing people in different generations. I think that he was so great, that he was such a great fielder. He was, even with the stopping, he was a 24-time All-Star, hit 660 homers. Um, I just think that the saddest part was, like, he was so excited for this game that's coming up tomorrow. We're filming now, but this is going to go out after. But for this game in Birmingham, his hometown, the team that he played for as a teenager, where he literally had to make a deal with his dad that he would only play on the weekends because his dad wanted him to graduate high school. Like, that was the kind of commitment he had to the game, that, like, he was in school during the week and he was playing baseball on the weekends, and clearly he was good enough to get out of going further in school and pursuing baseball. But I really think it was really sad because he was really excited for that game to be in his hometown for the team that started his career. And I think that they're going to do something really nice for him.
And that's going to be the San Francisco Giants will be taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. It's sad he is not going to be able to see this game. Hopefully, they do a great memorial for him. Birmingham Black Barons, his first season, he played 48 games for them. Just like you said, everything you said about only being able to play on the weekends. This was the type of person he was. He was committed to what he was doing. He was a family man. I don't think you could go around the league and hear one bad thing about Willie Mays. I mean, everyone
For
said
sure.
such positive things about him. He brought a positive feel to the game. When he was around, baseball just felt lighter. It felt better. It felt
Yeah.
right. And I agree.
Hmm.
You can't compare players from this generation to that generation to the generation before him. It's impossible. But what he did in his generation shattered records that will stay, that will continue to live on in the baseball world. We will appreciate him on a day-to-day basis. Willie Mays, rest in peace, good sir. I mean, 12-time Gold Glover in center field. Will
It's
anyone be
crazy.
able to do that?
You'll never see that again.
Never. Never. Offense, defense, both of it. Just up and down. Two-time MVP. Won the 54 World Series with the San Francisco Giants. Actually, I'm sorry, they were New York Giants at that time, but he was part of that relocation from New York to San Francisco. And I don't think the Giants do that move without having that presence, right? Knowing that they have that type of player to be able to do that move, right?
Yeah.
Having the confidence to be able to say, we're going to leave New York and go to San Francisco and open up a new arena and a new team, essentially relocate and start. I wouldn't say new, but almost like from scratch, really, right? You're going from one coast of the country to the other coast of the country. It's not an easy thing.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And I think that not only do you need a polarizing player on the field, you need someone that wants to, that appreciates the game and plays the right way, and also needs, not needs, and treats the game well, and also, like, treats the community well, and is just grateful to be there, grateful to play. And yeah, the godfather of Barry Bonds.
I agree. I agree. Couldn't have said it any better myself. It's going to be missed. Going to be missed around all the baseball stadiums that he's visited, gone to. He played a couple of seasons towards the end for the Mets as well. Even for
Mhm.
that brief period, he cultivated and captured that audience for the
Yeah.
Mets, and will always live on in that legacy as well. Rest
Yeah.
in peace, good sir. 93 years old, going to be missed in every community. Willie Mays, thank you for
I
everything
would
you've done in
love,
the baseball world.
yes. And I would love nothing more that if this podcast was able to reach someone that got to see him play, if someone could tell us that experience, tell us what it was like to watch him. Because in my life, he's an older man. He was an older man, but I would love to just, because there are certain players, like when you walk into Yankee Stadium this year, Juan Soto just has that energy. There are certain players that you just watch them play and they got it. They know, they love the game, they treat the game right. I would love if someone could tell me, like, what it was like don't see him play. I'm sure things were different. I know stadiums were different, but that would be a really cool thing for me. I would love to.
Well, hey, listen, I got 3 seats right over here. If we can get somebody who saw Willie Mays live come in, let us know how it felt watching him in person. I mean, that's something we'll never be able to
Yeah,
see. We'll only be able to see pictures and videos, whatever's out on the internet.
exactly.
Please, anyone who's got anything that they'd love to share with us, put it in the comments, share it with us. We'd love to hear what you guys have, what you guys have seen. Willie Mays,
Yeah,
he's made a lot of people feel really great about the sport.
for sure.
And a lot of legends who are retired now, who are still playing, were looking up to Willie Mays. And they could
Hmm.
say that their careers were based around Willie Mays. And any of
Hmm.
those guys, any of you athletes out there who are also listening, if you guys want to chime in and let us know, I mean, we'd love to hear what you guys have to say as well. Um, what else can we say about this great man that did so much for our favorite sport? I mean, he did it
I
all.
feel like we could talk about him forever.
His
We could talk about him
resume,
forever, and it wouldn't be enough.
his resume speaks for himself.
Yeah, rest in peace, Willie.
Well, guys, thank you. That's going to be it for our first show today. We really, really had a blast talking about it. We're going to bring you guys some great stuff going down the line. Please, like I said, just like I did about Willie Mays, if anyone has any points, any comments, if you guys think what we said was wrong, and you're like, how could you have said something like that? That doesn't make any sense. Let us know. We want to hear everything. Criticism, compliments, all of it.
Mhm.
Say it in the comments, chats, whatever it is. Guess what? We might bring you on the show and then have you speak
Yeah.
it, and then we could at least debate it in person.
It's all respectful. It's all love. We're trying to talk about sports with people who love sports too. You're allowed to be passionate. You don't have to feel like you have to agree with us, but I want to know why if you think I'm wrong or if you think Harry's wrong. I want to know why because I could learn from you. I'm here because I feel like I have something to give to the sports community as well as my man Harry. And I think that as we go along, I think that we'll find some of you will enjoy having conversations with us as well.
That is definitely true. We are excited. This is going to be so much fun. And I think off that, we can wrap this up for today. Josh, any last words before we set sail for the sunsets?
I really just want to again thank everyone for your time today. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, and we're on social media. Feel free to give us a shout anywhere.
And listen, like the late great Yogi once said, he hits from both sides of the plate. He's amphibious. This guy. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
He gets me every time.